Okay, just got back from my walk, literally. And this is the start of week 2 of my 28-day fresh start. I don't know why I always have to quote it like that, but fresh start before my 52-week journey, walking journey. I'm not scared. I'm not scared. Okay, focus. So, last week was week 1. There were some challenges, pros and cons. So, day 1, I walked almost 2,000 steps on my route around the neighborhood. I thought it would be a good route to take that would take me 10 minutes. Instead, it took me about 14, almost 15. But that's okay. So I walked 4 extra minutes, 5 extra minutes. That's fine. Um, it was a challenge to get up in the morning. I forgot my pedometer. I didn't know where it was. Found it. um, but yeah, that first walk was about 1972 steps. Not that I'm going to worry about the steps so much as I'm just going to follow in slowly increasing my time and making sure that I stay consistent with walking um, regularly throughout the week. So, day 1 was fine. Day 2 was one of the first compromise sort of situations because I worked very late the night before, so I knew I was not going to be able to get up early to walk like I did on Sunday morning. So instead, I looked at my schedule, I looked at my day, I knew I had a bunch of errands to run, including groceries, and so I wore my pedometer for that, parked far away from the shop so I could walk a longer route through the parking lots, and took a roundabout way through the entire store to get to what I needed. And then the grocery shopping, that was a good 45 minutes of walking around. But not regularly walking around because you're stopping and picking up stuff. But I did wear the pedometer just to see how it would compare to a walk around my neighborhood. And that particular errand day, it took me around 2,772 steps to do those 2 big errands. So I walked more than day 1. So that's good, even though it was a kind of a weird way to get the walking in. But that's okay. That's what it's all about. Being flexible with your schedule and with how you get your movement in. That's the plan for me. So that was day 2. Day 3 was a scheduled day off because it was first week, so I was following a walking guide that I found, and I recommended walk 2 days, then take a day off. So I did that. Tuesday was off, which was good because I had a lot of work to do. Wednesday was where it got complicated because I had every intention of getting up first thing in the morning and going for a walk. However, here's where the complication came in. I recently had a blood test to check all my different levels with my doctor, and she found everything was fine. Cholesterol's good, glucose good, everything's good. But the one abnormality she found was my thyroid. And so that level was really low and abnormal low. So she wanted me to try taking the lowest dose of a medication, a thyroid medication, for about a month and see if it has any sort of beneficial effect or not. I did find it interesting that it was a low thyroid because I have been feeling extraordinarily fatigued lately, and perhaps that's that maybe that's part of it. I always blame stuff on my weight. Everything must be because of my weight, but not everything is necessarily that. Because there have been times when I was consistent with regular exercise 4 or 5 days a week. I would be working out, walking, doing yoga, and I didn't have this kind of fatigue that I've been having. So, uh, yeah. So anyway, Wednesday was the first day of me taking that medication. You have to take it first thing in the morning and avoid food. You have to drink a lot of water. No dairy, like milk, no milk within a certain amount of time. Don't take iron within a certain amount of time. So there was a lot of complications with that. But that's fine. I took the medication and I had every intention of going for a walk a little bit later in the morning. But I had kind of a reaction to the medicine. It made me feel really sick. I mean, I don't know if you've ever had this where you take a medication for the first time, whether it's over the counter or not, and it gives you kind of that medicine-y taste in your stomach, and you just feel like kind of not great, awful. And so I wasn't feeling well. I was waiting for that to kind of shake off, but it lasted throughout the day into the next day. And on top of that, it just had an extraordinary effect on my energy level, but in the opposite way. I was hoping it would give you a lift or whatever, but I guess when you first start a medication, sometimes it does the opposite. So I felt like just all energy out of the sails, just could hardly keep my head up. I was so tired. And that was not great for being able to go for my walk and also for being able to get my work done that day. That was terrible. Terrible. I was exhausted. I ended up napping several times throughout the day. It was so bad. And so, what are you going to do? So I thought about it and I thought, well, I don't feel well and I'm exhausted and I don't really feel secure about going for a walk through the neighborhood in 90-degree weather when I don't feel well. Don't need to scare my neighbors with passing out in their yard. So I made a decision. This is one of those things where it's like I told myself I would need to be flexible with my schedule. So I decided to swap days. Saturday was supposed to be a day off, so I said instead I will make Wednesday the day that I will take off, and then Saturday I will walk instead. So that's just how it was. I had to assess based on how I was feeling, and so I did. So I took Wednesday off and just kind of dealt with that medication for the first day. And so far it's been getting better. I think it was just the first day that was pretty rough. I don't know if anyone else has had that experience, but that was mine. So that was Wednesday, day 4. Thursday, day 5, I walked in the morning. I was slower. I'm not sure if it was leftover residual effects from that medicine, but I was slower. It took me about 16 minutes to take the same route through my neighborhood. And I walked less steps, weirdly. 1866. So I don't know what that was about. It's a cheap pedometer. What do you want? Maybe it's not perfectly accurate. But that was day 5. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. And that was fine. I went early enough. It was not too hot yet. Breeze was okay. Um, so there's that. Day 6, Friday, I did 1964 steps, and I wasn't sure how much time it took because what it was I didn't take a regular through my neighborhood walk. Instead, because it was July 4th, I walked to my parents' house, which is not that far away, so don't be impressed. But it's really not that far. I walked to their house, and I just kept my pedometer on the rest of the day as we hung out for July 4th. And then I walked home in the evening. And just that time distance. So there wasn't really a time. I couldn't say, oh, yeah, I did 10 minutes or 15 minutes. It wasn't. It was more like, whatever it took me to get to my parents' house and back, and just walking around their house. So that was, again, 1964 for that amount of walking. So, again, unconventional measurement there. It wasn't just a straight up walk around the block. But I'm counting it because I did get a similar amount of steps, and yeah, I got it done. That was an afternoon walk, and then of course an evening walk late. It was like 11:30 at night. Ooh. That's fine. And then Saturday was supposed to be my swap out from Wednesday. Yeah, it was supposed to be my swap out from taking Wednesday off instead. But again, and this sounds like I'm making excuses for a whole first week, which is terrible. But again, I'm looking at it this way. When I did walk, I walked more than planned for my first week. I was supposed to be 10 minutes, 10 minutes off, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes off. But each day I walked more than the 10 minutes. So yeah, I didn't end up walking on Saturday because I had terrible insomnia Friday night after the excitement of July 4th festivities. Terrible insomnia. Literally did not fall asleep until after 5 a.m. I'm not kidding. 5 a.m. Insomnia is in the family. It's me, my mom. We both have terrible insomnia sometimes. Mine's gotten improved over the years, but every once in a while it kills me. And that night the circuits were going. I was just wide awake. I could not settle down. And so, yeah, it was after 5 a.m. before I finally fell asleep. And this just goes to show again, this is one of the reasons why I want to get back into a regular walking routine, because I want to be able to hopefully improve my sleep. Because when I was working out regularly, whether walking or doing yoga or strength training exercises, I slept better and more consistently. And since I stopped, yeah, it's just been worse. So, yeah, Friday night, didn't get to sleep until Saturday morning, 5 a.m. I finally fell asleep. And not gonna lie, I woke up at like 1:30, almost 2 o'clock. So there's half the day gone. And I needed to get things done. I needed to do laundry. I needed to get some work done, some cleaning. So in that way, there was movement in my day, a lot of going up and down stairs to do my laundry and movement and cleaning. But again, it wasn't a consistent, like straight up 10-minute walk or anything. And I thought about it. There was times when the weather didn't work very well that day too, because I thought, well, I didn't obviously get it done in the morning because I was asleep. In the afternoon, I was trying to get the things done, But I thought, well, maybe I could squeeze one quick walk around the block around 8 p.m. or 7:30 or something. But around that time, it was pouring rain. So this is one of those situations where I thought, okay, what do I do? Do I wait it out and go at 9 p.m. or 11 p.m.? And it just seemed crazy. And I thought, I looked at the previous days of this past week and thought, okay, I put in extra 5 minutes my very first day, an extra 6 minutes on day 4. So that's a 10-minute walk right there, which could be considered my Saturday walk. And I did some extra steps on uh, Monday. So I thought, okay, it's my very first week. I'm still trying to. This is this very first start. This is a fresh start. I'm going to try to get my movement consistent as I go along. So this is the challenge is the very first week. I'll have to look into what to do when the weather sucks or when it's freaking hot out, and I would die without water. Sorry. Oh, that tastes good. Nice and cold. So as my very first week, I thought, this is not going to be, I promised myself this was not going to be some hyper perfection motivated kind of process. It's going to be what I can do. And this past week, that's what I could do. So that was my week. That was week 1. And that's how it's gonna go. So I got it done, and I managed to do 1, 2, 3, 4 days of walking out of the 5 that were planned, because there was 5 days out of 7 planned for walking. So I did 4 out of 5, but I did extra on some of the 4 days. So I'm calling it a wash. I'm counting it. So there. Now we're into week 2. I did my walk in the evening today. I did not get up in the morning. Had a lot going on, so I just decided to go in the afternoon this time. And I found I don't like it. For me, it could be different for everybody, but for me, I don't like walking it was 5:45 p.m. I just, the weather was fine. There was no breeze, which sucked, but the weather was fine. Sun was out, but not too hot today, which is good, because all week it's been ridiculous. But yeah, I think my body just doesn't feel as energetic as it does first thing in the morning, which is weird to say because lately I've been so fatigued, possibly because of the low thyroid thing, that I don't like getting up in the morning. I've always been a night owl, but it's been especially bad lately. So I mean, it's good for me to try different times of the day and test it out and see how I feel. First thing in the morning, I mean, I wouldn't go instantly the first time I got up. I would need to warm up my body a little bit. But I like going in first thing in the morning. It's cooler, it's quieter, and my body just feels like it's waking up, not coming down for the day. Whereas at 5:45 p.m., 6 o'clock p.m., as I was walking along, I just felt slower. And I walked slower. It was, what did they say it was? 16 minutes. I walked about 1930 steps, 16 minutes, and I just felt slower. It felt slower. And 1 minute, 2 minutes off of a week, from my day 1 is not that big of a deal. Day one of the 28 days was about 14 or 15 minutes, and that was at like 8:30 in the morning. Um, Tonight it was almost 6 p.m., and it only took me 16 minutes. So it was only a minute or two difference, but I felt different. I felt slower. I felt heavier, just, just plodding along. It didn't feel as enjoyable. I wanted to just be done. And I wished I had music along with me. I almost wore my headphones, but my thing needs a recharge. So I had to just walk without, which is fine. I enjoyed looking around and, just acknowledging the life that was going on around me. And just looking up at the trees and the breeze, the very little breeze, and the sun. And that was fine. But it just felt slower. I felt slower. Like I don't know. Maybe that's when your body is slowing down for the end of the day. It just doesn't have as much muscle energy. I don't know. Someone who's expert in that sort of information would have to chip in with that detail, but that was my experience. I just felt slower and not as bouncy on today's walk. So who knows? I'm going to try again tomorrow. Tomorrow's yeah. We're gonna do this week is 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, and then a day off, and then 10 minutes, 10 minutes. It's supposed to be 6 out of 7 days walking this week instead of 5 out of 7. So all tens except for Thursday will be the day off, unless I need to swap things around. But so I got in my 16 minutes today, and tomorrow I will do my very best to get up early so that I can go in the morning. Hopefully the weather will be good. It's been rainy and kind of humid and hot all last week, so we'll see how it goes. But this is week 2 starting. Day 1 of week 2 checked off, and we'll see what the week brings. I continue to keep going as best as I can, and that's all I can do, and that's all any of us can do. So let's do this. Woo! Have a good week. Check in with you next week.